Hello, welcome to Tedorigawa Bookmakers here at YouTube. Today I made a book, this one, and as you can see it's called Fear Zero. It is book 0 of the Fear Trilogy, which is coming soon. Book 1 is almost finished, but Fear Zero is available on iBooks, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, and a few other places, but not Amazon. It has a red cover indicating something like blood, and it has a dark end paper indicating something like dark, and it's about 120 pages. You can buy it on those places, iBooks, etc. But this is a video on how I made this book in about an hour and a half. Fairly simple, fairly quick, and very rough. It is, as you can see, a soft cover, pocketbook size. So thanks for dropping by. If you want to watch how I made this, continue watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye now. Here I'm using a template to measure the amount of book cloth I need for the cover. Earlier I had sewn and put on the mold for the text block itself, and here I'm using another template to make sure that everything is the right size, and then I'm cutting out the book cloth for the cover. For book boards, I'm using a recycled box that some present came in, and that saves money for everybody, and it makes it more flexible because it's not a very thick board. First I put down the book boards, and then I traced around it, and then I used spacers so I would have an even 15 millimeters on each side, and then another spacer for the spine piece. I have templates and spacers so I can just measure very quickly. This saves me a lot of time and agony and pain when it comes to measuring stuff. Rather than measure with a ruler and get it all wrong, I have these templates and spacers. I have these templates and spacers that I can just put on the book cloth and trace around, and it works out 99% of the time. It works out really well. And then I just had to cut them all out. Here I'm gluing up the edges of the book cloth onto the book boards. I do the top and bottom first and then the sides. And rather than watch the entire process, let's speed this video up a little bit. Sometimes I leave the foredge uncut and in rough. I kind of like that roughness to it on some books, but on this particular book, I thought I would trim off the foredge and make it a little bit more neat. And this is what I'm doing here, and it is taking off quite a bit. I'm quite surprised how much of a margin I had, but it worked out quite well. I have these weights in various weights, and I use them to hold things down. In this case, I'm holding the ruler straight and the book solid, so I don't make a, big mistake and have to start all over again. These are the end papers I'm putting in. I'm folding them and then checking to make sure that everything is the right size, and then I'm going to glue them up and put them in the book itself. I was hoping I could find black, but I didn't have any, so I got the next best thing, which is dark blue, and I think it fit the book a little bit better than the black. One trick I learned from a teacher not too long ago is to make the end papers a little bit larger than the actual need. That way, after I put it on, I can cut it off to the exact size I need rather than, again, spend a lot of time measuring and possibly getting it wrong and having to do it over again. So I'm doing here is cutting off the excess pieces. There's usually two sides on the front and the back that you have to cut off if you align it correctly. And I think this is a time saver, if nothing else. And finally, I put in my homemade book press, which is just large enough for the pocketbook size book. And I screw it down and I leave it there for a while and do some other stuff. And then I come back after maybe an hour or so and check it out. And if it's sufficient, I take it out. And if it's not sufficient, I put it back in and do some. And here is the completed book. Thanks for dropping by. Hope to see you again next time.